guys, today I've got a killer clean metal intro that I want you guys to learn. Now, this doesn't belong to any song. Of course, you guys can probably think of some songs that maybe it sounds like, but I just started messing around. Actually, I've had this little progression here kind of in my head, and I've messed around with it for the past couple of years, and I'm just now showing it to you. I've yet to use this for an actual song. Who knows, I might, but I want to share it with you because it sounds so cool. And learning this little riff or this little progression, we're going to be in the key of D minor, by the way. Learning this, I believe, is going to help open up some new doors for you in what you're writing, and even when you're learning other songs. Just the cool way that we're about to play this little riff here, or this progression. So let's get right into it. Now, real quick, for my Patreon supporters, I do have the tabs, and I've got a really cool backing track over a minute long. Let's learn this riff. So I'm going to play through this. Of course, you heard it in the intro here because I just wanted to start the video with that. It just sounds so cool. It's like really dark. But I'm going to play it just out here in the open, and then we'll break this down piece by piece. So it's got that really dark, sinister sound to it. It's got that vibe, and you could probably guess there's some 80s undertones as well. We're going back to maybe some of the earlier Ozzy albums, some of the stuff by Queensryche, and several other bands that had maybe a clean intro or outro or just part of the song where you had that clean guitar playing, which I think is something that's often forgotten about in metal music. I know there are a lot of metal songs out there with clean parts, but it seems like there was a lot more back in the day. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just the old man talking in me. But anyway, I want to share this with you because I think integrating these types of things into your music, I think it's just a cool way to break things up. I need to do it more myself. We're really just playing. I said it's in the key of D minor here, and hey, it's cool metal horns that kind of showed up naturally, but the wrong fingers. It's like, okay, anyway, when you play this chord, you're going to get some weird metal horns like that. It kind of naturally pops out like that. It's going to feel like we're playing a regular D. We're in the key of D minor, but we're not actually playing the full D minor chord. That D string is open, okay? Let me turn my volume knob up. That might help. Cool. Okay, so the D string is open. Our next frets, okay, are going to be 2, 3, just like we're playing a regular D or a D minor, but that last string, we would normally play the first fret to play the D minor. Instead, we're leaving that open, okay? So we're playing this. Now, the second part to this lesson, other than it being just a really cool, killer, clean metal intro, or whatever we want to call this thing, is that we're arpeggiating these notes. We're not just strumming. We're arpeggiating like you heard me do at the end there. Now, before we move on, these next few little chords here I'm going to share with you, they're very, very simple. Actually, it doesn't require much changing around of the configuration of your fretboard hand here, which is going to make it super easy, and you're going to be like, again, this is going to just like fire off different ideas as you start playing this. You're going to learn this, but then you're going to start playing other things based on the concept that we're going over, and that's exactly what I want for you. You could do some different, and I encourage you to do this, do some different patterns. Like, for example, keep it simple, I'm just arpeggiating just straight down, okay? If you wanted to do something like this, you could. I'm not going to call out the strings here, but if you want to make something else up, I really like to tell you guys to play what you feel. What do you like? What's trying to come out? So something like this would work too. So I just showed a few random patterns, and I honestly don't remember what I just played. You guys know that's par for the course for me, so I just made something up, but only to demonstrate that you don't have to play the straight, down pattern that I'm playing. Feel free to kind of, venture out and make something up. That's what these lessons are really all about. The second chord that we're going to play, the cool thing about this is we're going to keep that root, that D string, we're going to keep that open, okay? All I did, and this is what's so cool about this chord, was I just moved my first finger, okay, the one that's on the G string second fret, I moved that from the second fret to the third fret, right? 2, 3. Real easy, and that's all I did here. So let's go through that one more time. Now you could stop right there, and that could almost be your intro or part of the song. That could be like a verse or whatever you want it to be. It could be like the bridge or something like that. You could just play those two chords and go back and forth, and you would have something really cool sounding. Imagine playing like a really cool lead over that. That would sound cool. Maybe we'll do that a little later. I'll ask Gunnar if he wants to come in and play a lead track over that. So let's see if he shows up later. To the third chord that we're going to play in this little pattern. So let me play it through here up to that point, and then I'll show you exactly what we're doing, which is super, super easy. Now what's cool is the finger configuration is the exact same as our first chord there. So our first chord, we've got that D string open, which we're constant with that throughout these three chords that we're playing. That stays open as our first note, okay? But then you see how my fingers are configured here, right? I've got my first finger on the second fret of the next string, which is the G string. Then my third finger here is on the B string third fret. We're going to keep that same configuration. There's a fret between where my fingers are here. We're going to keep that same configuration down here on the 5th and 6th fret of the G and the B string. Okay, so G string 5, B string 6. So an easy way to remember this is you've got that configuration. I wish we could come up with a cool name for that. There may be something, but you've got that configuration. Then we change it, right, by sliding that, that first finger from the second fret to the third fret. But then we go back to that configuration when we come down here and play the 5th and 6th fret of the G and the B string. So let's go through this one more time. Now we could stop there, but I've got one more chord that I want to share with you, and actually it's quite different from everything we've played at this point, but it fits really nicely. But you could, again, you could take that, what we just did, and you would have plenty to work with, okay? You'd have plenty for like the intro or outro or whatever, again, whatever you want to use it for. I mean, you could write an entire song based on that pattern there. And I hope already you're getting some new ideas, maybe with some other chords or other progressions. Maybe you have a progression you've been playing, but you want it to sound a little bit darker and cooler. Well, implement something like what we're doing here. When you can keep that one note constant, that's one of the things that makes this so dark sounding, so just cool, okay? So let's go over the last chord that I'm playing here. And basically what I'm doing the same thing that we just did. We just went through, then I'll repeat that pattern, but instead of repeating this part twice, I'm playing something different. I'm playing this on that last chord. So we changed things quite a bit here, and this chord can be a little bit challenging until you get used to it. But I want you to understand, playing guitar, when you come across a chord or a pattern or anything that you're trying to play that maybe you're struggling a little bit with, all it takes is just repetition to kind of get your brain to click, okay, this is what my fingers are supposed to do, where they're supposed to go. In other words, the more you practice it, the better you get at it. It becomes second nature, okay? This is one of those chords, once your hands get accustomed to that, and this may happen sooner or later, depending on who you are. Some of us learn certain things a little bit faster than others, and vice versa. So anyway, I'm starting on the D string. Again, we're starting on the D string, but it's not open this time. This is where it kind of changes a little bit. So starting on the D string, let's just call out the frets, okay? 5, 5, 3, open, okay? So D string, 5th fret, G string, 5th fret, B string, 3rd fret, that last string, now that's the constant here. That's open throughout this entire pattern. So that's it. That's what we're playing at the end. So let's go through this pattern one more time, and again, I'll see if Gunnar can play a solo to this, because I did record this in the studio. So we'll see if we can bring him out after this. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hear what Gunnar can come up with. I want to see if he can just put together a really cool, dark sounding solo to what we just learned. So we're going to hear that, but real quick, just an announcement. So guys, you know, this is my Schroeder Marksman 87 guitar. This is an awesome guitar. It was sent by Mike Schroeder himself in Germany, or from Germany rather. So I'm going to have Mike on the channel here. I'm filming that in a couple of days from now. I wish I were flying to Germany to do this, but we're going to do this over Zoom. But I will have some clips, some sound clips of this guitar throughout our interview as well. We'll be answering a lot of the questions, or all of the questions, that you guys have asked about this guitar and building guitars as an independent guitar maker. So that's going to be covered. That's going to be out very soon. Stay tuned for that. Also, don't forget the links in the description. If you're a Patreon supporter, that link is in the description. You'll have the backing tracks and the tabs for this lesson here, and my guitar courses as well. All right, so let's hear what Gunnar came up with. That was a pretty cool solo. We don't hear many solos like that anymore these days. So Gunnar, dude, nice job on that. Guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate you guys. Please give this a like. Make sure you're subscribed, ding the bell. We're always putting out cool content for you just like this. And I'll see you on the next video. Until then, you know what to do. Keep it metal.